if you look at the marketplace for energy efficiency, there's lots of barriers that we've known about for a long time that actually prevent people from investing in energy efficiency. You may have split incentives between tenants and landlords. One party in a transaction may know the energy consumption of the building versus another party. If you're trying to buy a building, you just simply may not know how much energy that building uses. So benchmarking data is really intended, or rather benchmarking data collected by the city and publicized by some cities to the market, is intended to give people in the marketplace the information they need to make a informed decision about buying or selling a building, or rather investing in energy efficiency that might make their building more efficient. Okay, so benchmarking data is required. The reason why it's mandatory is that there's lots of reasons why in the marketplace people may not want to reveal information if their building doesn't perform as well as other buildings. But when you think about it, in order to have a functioning marketplace for energy efficient buildings, you need to be able to distinguish the good buildings from the bad buildings. You want to be able to provide this information to the entire marketplace so people can distinguish the buildings that need more investment versus the buildings that are already operating efficiently. And the important thing about benchmarking data also is that you think most owners would actually know how much energy their building uses. As it turns out, lots of owners don't look at their energy bills very often. So part of the reason why to require benchmarking is to really engage owners in gathering their own information and looking at the information and realizing that this actually has an impact on their operating costs. First, you want to provide the information to the marketplace. You want to make sure that people can basically know which buildings need additional investment to make them more efficient. You want to provide information so people can understand which buildings will have reduced operating costs associated with them, so people can value those more highly. And you also want people to basically be looking at the information, thinking about how to use it, and how to reduce their own operating expenses or changing their operational behavior. Finally, in comparison to energy modeling, and benchmarking data is actually a really terrific data source because it captures the actual energy use or metered energy use of the building. Energy modeling can often be done at the design stage. It can be done at the construction phase, or rarely is done post-occupancy. The issue is that lots of energy models at the stage where they're done don't actually reflect the actual occupied energy use of the building. The occupied energy use of the building depends on the tenants, depends on the behavior, it depends on the particular build out. So what benchmarking data really does is tells us how much energy is actually being used in the building. That's the starting point from which we can really understand how to reduce that energy use.
From my perspective, benchmarking has been a real catalyst for energy efficiency interest among the building owner community. We served as a main convener in terms of explaining how to implement the law to building owners. So we hosted monthly forums during much of last year to talk about the issues involved in benchmarking before the law passed, to help give input to the city and how they would structure their legislation. And then once the law passed, we helped to outreach and convene building owners impacted by the law and teach them how to comply with the law, as well as provide them strategies and ideas based on the hub's approach to making their buildings more efficient.
So here in Philadelphia, as well as in other cities around the country that have benchmarking policies, there was some initial confusion about the goals and the purpose of these programs, and some anxiety among building owners about whether they were going to be compared to buildings that were not like theirs, that were much newer or different type. And as it turns out, the whole goal of the programs is to get apples to apples comparisons. So if you are a mid-century office building that's 60,000 square feet, the comparison buildings that you'll be put up against are exactly the same age, size, type, and usage. So when you get those scores back from the program, it really gives you a better sense of how you stand in the marketplace instead of just how you perform against your performance from previous years. And that's the kind of valuable information that really does help building owners to make good management decisions when they're considering retrofit and operational changes.